Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got the Lego DeLorean. We got the 35th anniversary Steelbook collection. And we are here for the 41st anniversary of Back to the Future. And from, July 1st to the 3rd, we're pre-recording these. July 1st to July 3rd. Every day, starting today, there will be a video on each Back to the Future film. So, over the past week and a half or so, I've dived deep, rewatched, looked at stuff, gotten some things, and I'm here to talk about my love for these films. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, because this is... Now let's get a little old-fashioned. Let's talk about the story. This film follows Marty McFly, an ordinary teenager who's accidentally sent from 1985 to 1955 after his scientist friend Doc Brown, who's being attacked by terrorists, unveils that he has a time machine in a DeLorean. The DeLorean is capable of traveling through time once it reaches 88 miles per hour, and once Marty arrives in the past, things immediately spiral out of control, and he accidentally prevents his parents from meeting, which starts erasing his own existence. Now he has to make sure his teenage parents fall in love, while also convincing the younger Doc Brown to help him get back to the future. It's an incredibly simple premise on paper, but the execution is what makes this a perfect film. The movie never overcomplicates time travel like a lot of modern films. Instead, it focuses on the characters and lets the science fiction create funny situations. The pacing's very phenomenal. The movie does not waste any time. Every single scene introduces something that pays off later. And whether it's the clock tower, the skateboard, George's confidence, or even Marty's guitar playing, everything comes back in a satisfying way. And that's something, like I said, modern blockbusters sometimes, I'm not going to say all, not a hater, don't always accomplish. And with that, let's get into the performances. Michael J. Fox is Marty McFly to a T.
Well, it's a DeLorean, right?
Stay with me, Marty. All your questions will be answered. Roll tape.
Okay.
I know you've got a few weird people out there that want remakes of these. No, sir, we do not. We do not. There is nobody else. Just like Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, which I just covered those recently, so we'll plug in there if you want to go watch that. But he is this character. His charisma completely carries the movie. Marty feels like a believable teenager. He's very sarcastic and also confident without being a cocky guy. And he reacts to the insane situations presented to him exactly how a normal person would. One of my favorite things about his performance is how naturally funny he is. The comedy never really feels forced because Fox delivers every single line with incredible timing.
Thanks a lot, kid.
I'm gonna get that son of a bitch.
Whether he's pretending to be Darth Vader, trying to convince George to ask the ring to the dance, or even completely freaking out after seeing his own family disappear from the photograph. He sells every single emotion in this film. Without his performance, I don't actually think the movie would have become as phenomenal or as a phenomenon as it is. As great as Marty is, Christopher Lloyd gives us one of cinema's most iconic characters. Doc Brown is energetic, unpredictable, and very brilliant. Despite how insane he sounds at a lot of times, the relationship between Marty and Doc is what gives the movie a lot of heart, and they genuinely do care about each other, and you completely buy their friendship. Doc also has a lot of excitement whenever he talks about science, and it's very contagious. I feel like every single simple dialogue choice becomes very entertaining because Lloyd throws away all those crazy isms in his performance. The supporting cast is also great. They're all fantastic. Crispin Glover makes George McFly one of the most awkward yet lovable characters in the film. Watching him slowly gain confidence throughout the movie becomes surprisingly emotional. Leah Thompson has the difficult task of playing Marty's mother in two different time periods, and she absolutely nails both versions. Then you got Thomas F. Wilson as Biff Tannen, and he's one of the greatest, if not the greatest movie villain ever, or bully we should say. He's intimidating enough while also not being so intimidating. He's endlessly entertaining. Even decades later, people still recognize Biff. The writing here is also incredible. This is where Back to the Future separates itself from almost every other blockbuster at the time because the screenplay is unbelievably tight. Every setup, like I said earlier, has a payoff. Every joke and line has some kind of purpose, whether it be the clock tower, the mayor's campaign, the skateboard, or even the Twin Pines Mall, the photograph also, and even the lightning strike. Everything really connects in this film, and you can watch this movie 10 times over and still notice details that you missed before. I feel like that's a sign of an excellent writer. Even after all these years, the comedy also still lands. A lot of the 80s comedies, I feel like, sometimes feel dated today, but Back to the Future really doesn't. Most of the humor comes naturally from the situations rather than the pop culture references of today. Seeing Marty accidentally invent rock music, for example, or George constantly panicking and Doc yelling every 5 minutes he's on screen, it all still works. Even Biff getting humiliated at the end is awesome. The score by Alan Silvestri created one of the greatest film scores ever composed. The main theme instantly fills you with excitement. Before recording this today, I was actually listening to it at my desk, and it just gives you joy. Okay, it just gives you joy. The clock tower sequence is where the last 20 minutes of the film happen, is absolute perfection. You have Doc racing to get the cable, Marty trying to reach 88 miles per hour, the storm approaching, the clock ticking. It's very intense, but also fun. Because everything built together to give you one of the most satisfying endings ever put on film. And I feel like that's masterful filmmaking, with the suspense, with all of this, and even the way it's filmed in general. And I feel like it still holds up today. The effects obviously do show their age in places, but even then, who cares? Practical effects give the movie even more charm. The writing, performances, pacing, music, and the emotional core of this film make it one of the most rare films that you've probably ever seen, if you've seen it, which I'm sure you have. It's very popular. Back to the Future isn't just one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made in general. It perfectly balances comedy, that adventure, heart, and even romance without ever feeling bloated. It's endlessly rewatchable, quotable, and still serves the blueprint for blockbuster storytelling. And I think there's a reason why people have really loved this film decades later, and why somebody like me, as a young kid watching this film at the time, would have been decades old then, and still thinking it's a true classic that deserves every bit of its legendary reputation. But that is just my opinion. So with that, what did you guys think of Back to the Future? Is it your favorite in the trilogy, or do you like part 2 or even 3? Think they're better? Let me know down below in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to hit 3K subscribers for the anniversary series, because we're also going to be covering part 2 and 3. So until next time, aka tomorrow, we will be, like I said, covering part 2 and then part 3 on the day after that. So stick around for that. And I want to take a second real quick to thank my Patreon producers. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. And if that's something that you're interested in as well, and getting extra videos and content, then those links will be down below in the description below. And with that, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
How much money you got on you?
Well, how much you want, Biff?